Hi guys, welcome to season 2 of our podcast, Ladies Who Lift.
You can now stream on all platforms including Spotify, Apple Podcasts and even YouTube for our visual listeners. Hi guys, welcome back to episode 5 of the Ladies Who Lift podcast.
Hope you're all doing well.
Today we are debunking fitness myths.
This is a very interesting one. I'm quite excited.
I love watching videos on Instagram that debunk fitness myths.
Yeah, and I've learned some things along the way ahead of this episode.
I really have.
Yeah.
Crazy. Because although I know certain things are obviously a myth, the science behind it is a bit kind of wish that was information was spread around before I tried that.
And also, some of the stuff I read, there was one particular thing that I read about, how shocking your muscles isn't a thing. We'll go into it. That's so not true.
Do you know what? I had so much controversy on TikTok about that.
Yeah, because I genuinely thought that was a thing until not that long ago.
Yeah.
And it's just things like that you go about day-to-day life. You've seen it on a couple of news pages or even a actual because until it's disproven, then people can put out any information, can't they? You read it and you think, yeah, 100% that makes so much sense.
This is the one scary thing about social media.
It's so scary, isn't it?
You can put out whatever you want to and people will believe it. And I am people.
And we are people. That's what I was about to say.
We are so gullible.
Oh no. And now we're putting out things, so I really hope everything we say is correct.
No, we have intensely researched
this. Yeah, we've looked into this.
Because obviously we kind of don't want to be hypocrites. No. But also there is some bold claims in this, but we have researched everything. Yeah. Don't sue us, sue Google.
Google's the problem. TikTok, Google, Instagram.
Yeah.
It's not us. But no, I just find it really interesting, to be honest. And I've when I was looking into it, because even if you've been doing this line of work for ages, there's new research comes out all the time, and I'm always checking for the 2024 update on the pages.
Oh my god,
because you just can't trust anything that came out 2 years ago.
But the truth of the matter is, in the fitness industry, it's growing so quickly, and there's more studies coming out all the time. Yeah. And most of it is correct, but with social media these days, you can really put any, and the issue is with it is people will think of, I don't know, a good hook that's actually not a hook. For example, how to tone your upper body, which is not actually, we've researched that as well, haven't we? And we've found out that toning isn't actually.
Yeah, well, I think that's a big thing that I've always wanted to kind of reiterate to people, that there's this term toning, which is always used in marketing, always used to for women. It's
because it makes it sound good.
Yeah, because I think
sound good.
The common thing about us women is that we come into training and we're scared of being bulky, and always get people ask me about, I really want to do a bit of weight training, but is it going to make me bulky? Is it going to make me look like this? So then people who want to advertise it will use this term toning and say to women, if you want to tone your muscles, then do this. And actually, toning, if you're toning a muscle, then the only way to do that is by either leaning out or building muscle. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's the same thing as weight training.
It's just been given a decorative name.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is something that we need to be careful of as influencers, because this is with when you want your video to go viral, you will put the most decorative, I don't even think I'm saying that right.
No.
The best term on the front of your reel, because if that gets engagement within 3 seconds, people are going to watch it. So people will be like, this is how you can grow your glutes in a month. It's not going to happen, but it's such an outlandish thing that people want to do that they'll carry on watching. Yeah,
so it's at the start of videos, you do have to say something that is going to catch people's attention, don't you? So then this is where all these myths, we're part of the problem.
Yeah, but obviously there's a line that shouldn't be crossed. And obviously these days, you can get so carried away with, especially if you're an influencer, you can get carried away with how many views you're getting, and maybe your engagement's low and you want something that's gonna wow the internet and go viral. But obviously you just need to check in with yourself and be does this align with my morals? Because you want to make sure that you're spreading the right information, because that could land on someone, for example, like me. When I was younger, I was so gullible. I tried everything to make my waist smaller, and I saw a fitness influencer speak about waist trainers and wearing waist trainers. Can't remember who she was, but I used to wear a waist trainer because of that. And it was only till recently I've realised how damaging they are. They can be. But I was so desperate, and it kind of just fed into my. I was so desperate to get a small waist, and that's just, I saw it, bam, easy waist, small waist in like
Easy
3
waist.
seconds. Easy waist trainer. And I'm just like on it, but it's not how it is. Really scary, actually.
No, and I feel like it's important to say as well that before we start, because this is a bit of a like, some of the topics are controversial and stuff, that we are personal trainers, but we're not medical professionals. So everything that we've found, we've done our own research, and obviously we've gone off the base of knowledge that we have already. But we're just researching and trying to get you guys like as much, kind of get rid of the misinformation as much as we can.
Yeah.
So yeah, just take everything you hear with a pinch of salt. But our main goal with this episode is to kind of like
Clean
debunk,
up.
clean up
any of the like terms that you may hear on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, definitely. And with social media, I know like, this is probably something that we've said on our podcast like so many times, but you really can just put anything out there and anyone can post anything. And I think in the fitness world, especially like if you come to our podcast from fitness world, there's so much in that everyone is just
it can be quite
doing
dangerous.
all this stuff. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? Like people don't pay for coaches or don't pay for personal trainers, which is obviously totally fine. But then that means that all the information you're getting, if you're not doing your own courses and research, is going to be from other coaches on social media.
Yeah.
And who knows whether or not they actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
it's just crazy, isn't it?
It's just a reminder to kind of like fact check who you're following and what you're listening to, because Instagram can be amazing, don't get me wrong. When I first started, I was following this girl called College Clean Eating. She's amazing. She I think she's certified. But yeah, I think if they have,
we don't even know.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean. But like she does, from now looking at it from a personal trainer's point of view to another personal trainer's, I can tell that she probably knows what she's on about.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's just a reminder to kind of take everything with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're wafflers anyway, aren't we? So we're definitely not doctors. We're definitely not medical professionals. We just like to chat.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know whether
trainers.
I guess we've already spoken about them.
You've dangled the carrot now. Haven't I? It started.
Well, this is so when I was probably, do you remember? Did you know me when I had a waist trainer?
Yeah, I did. It was in Beecham,
13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Obsessed with having a small waist, and I was kind of like not in my self-love era at all. So I was just kind of like following a load of wrong people to kind of look up to. And I saw one person post about a waist trainer, bought it, and then wore it for a long period of time, actually. I think I almost tried to sleep in it once. So
that is one thing that is so bad, you know. You should never sleep in a waist trainer.
Sorry, mummy.
Sorry, but that has made me mad. No, I'm joking.
No, but it's scary. And I remember my mum being like, that can't be good for you. And like trying to hide it from me. And I was so desperate I would like try and find it and stuff. It's like, I don't know where it is right now. I think it's hidden in the back of my wardrobe. But I've not since doing the course, actually, my PT course, and finding out how, well, one, you can't even change your body through a waist trainer anyway. I've never tried it again, and it's really like that experience has taught me to kind of like open my third eye and just not believe everything I see. Like
you've had a few moments with things that you've seen on the internet, haven't you?
Yeah,
we've had like turmeric on the face, dyed a face yellow. Yeah. We've had onion in the hair.
Yeah,
stank.
Stank for 6 months and got called Onion Girl for like 6 months. Yeah.
So you're doing things to try and make yourself feel better, but actually it's just going completely the other way on what people think.
Basically, there's a load of people behind the internet that just want to make you look like an idiot. So don't believe them.
And there's some people who fall for it as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
But waist trainers, I just think this is one thing that is... The thing that's mad about them is that they kind of... Some people would argue they do work.
They can work for different things like posture.
Yeah, and they work for posture. They can temporarily change like how your waist looks, I'm pretty sure, because if you're wearing it for a full day and then you take it off and you're kind of that's been like that, your body's going to naturally stay there for a bit, but it will go back to how it was before. So it's never going to be a long-term fix. So you're doing all these things to your insides,
your organs,
for something that's not going to last.
Yeah,
which is kind of mad. And when I was reading on it, it was talking about even your lungs and your heart, which you put a waist trainer on, you don't think that's going to affect your lungs,
your
or
vital
your heart.
organs.
Yeah, and because basically you're not getting to your maximum lung capacity because you can't, because you're being restricted. that means that not enough oxygen is going to be getting into your blood, which means it's not going to be getting into your heart, which means that it can damage your heart tissue. So something that seems so like
innocent,
it's not even affecting that area of your body, can damage your heart tissue. Like, what?
It's crazy.
I just think that's crazy. And then it's like people are just advertising it on the internet, and
like
it
freely,
seems so innocent.
It seems so innocent. It does.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this will affect people that have low confidence and low self-esteem, like we both did when we were younger in school. Like this is what like the culprits of people that need like the waist trainer company, and like the companies that are trying to sell these things will always feed into the people that have low self-esteem, because it's a selling point. As awful as that is, that's where their market is.
Yeah.
So obviously it's gonna, like, the influencers that are gonna be selling it is gonna be like, oh yeah, I was so like upset with my waist and now this has changed it. This is the only thing that changes it. Hang on, just no, it doesn't. One, it doesn't, and two, you're just doing a really horrible thing by like feeding into these insecurities. It's scary.
So scary. It's mad. Yeah. I just can't. I just think it's fine, because I didn't think, like, when I remember you doing that in school, and even like I would have moments where I'd be like, I wonder if this actually works. Like, this is cool, kind of thing.
But when you realise, when you take a step back, and obviously we didn't have the information like available to us to actually know how bad that was until we did our course. So I would have still been doing it if I never did my PT course, or looked into it further.
Yeah.
It would be something that I was doing every single day, and then you don't know how that's going to damage you.
No.
Luckily, I'm switched on enough now to be more like loving of myself and being like, do you know what? Nothing is worth that.
No.
But it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one that I think is interesting for me right now is running destroys your knees.
I've
the
heard
statement
this.
that running destroys your knees. And I think
this is
it's
another
funny.
thing on Instagram.
Yeah, it is. And actually I think in our parents' generation, I think that's like since I've started running. Why do I bring this up in every episode?
I told you it's her personality trait.
It's awful. But since I started running, then a few people have said this to me, like, oh, it just really damages your knees. It can't do this. Like, it really makes your knees worse. And interestingly enough, any sport or any exercise can cause an injury, and you can get an injury. However, the actual act of running and putting impact on you like that, as long as you're doing it properly and you're warming up and you're wearing the correct trainers, and if you do have an injury, you rest until it's kind of fixed, actually that will trigger your body to make your knees stronger, because you're constantly treading. And so there's this whole thing about, like, can't do certain things because it's going to destroy your knees, or if you squat then you're going to destroy your back, and all these things go round all the time. But actually it's the opposite if you do it right.
100%.
You just have to start from the right place, use correct form, not overdo it. Like, anything you do, you can overdo it.
Anything you do, you can cause an injury. It's like tennis players, because it's repetitive strain, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the joint. So obviously you've got to be careful, but if it's something that you love, don't let those myths put you off.
Yeah, and give yourself enough rest. Yeah. That's really important.
It's like, it is like anything you do too much of is bad for you, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to be careful with everything, but you just kind of like put it into perspective, whether is it you're doing drugs every single week and it's bad for your knees. Like, obviously you're not going to do that because it's going to be bad for you, but then put that, if there's like drug warnings and then running is bad for your knees, you'd rather do that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. And these things like this, I actually, not even that long ago, and this is what I mean, like, we're in this industry, and I was worried when I started, like, I'd start getting knee problems because I'm running. And obviously if you've got an injury, then you can have knee problems because you're going to have done something that's affected your knee. But I've not had one problem since I've been running with my knees, and that's because the actual act of running, I'm doing strength training with it. So that means that my joints and muscles are still getting stronger as I'm doing it. And I'm not overdoing it. I'm giving myself enough rest. And I've not had any problems because running doesn't destroy your knees as a kind of, like, you're not guaranteed as soon as you start running you're going to destroy your knees, just like when you squat.
Do you know what gets me with these claims? Is they'll come out with, like, an outlandish thing like that with no explanation. Yeah. They'll come out with it and people will believe it, but...
And it spreads. How does it spread?
And that's the thing, but, like, people will come out with it, but they won't say how you can avoid it.
Yeah.
So there's always something that you can do to avoid knee, like, that pain when you're doing a sport. Like, if you're doing repetitive, like, strain on your knees with running, you can look to strengthen your knees with like quad extension, hamstring curl, just focusing on really strengthening your muscles around the joint.
Yeah.
Why 100%. Is that not? Why is
and
that
also
not
when you're before you've got the injury, like if you're not going to get an injury from running, great, but if you were to get an injury before you get the injury, if you're running without an injury, every time you take a step, that's triggering your body to bring blood to that part of your body to then fix your muscles, make sure your joints are strong. That's your role of your body. So how has it gone from
we were made to run, right?
Yeah, and we were made to use our joints and muscles, and that's why our body makes the muscles stronger around the areas we're working. So how has it gone from, the whole concept is that if you do a bicep curl constantly, your bicep's going to increase because that's how it works, because your body's triggered to increase the muscle in your bicep. So how's it gone from that, which we all would agree with, to running destroys your knees? Like, that's just so mad. It's
and
so
it will
weird.
Put people off though, that's the thing. Like, it's just when it's spread so much, something like that, you just do believe it. And that's the thing, it will go down generations. And that's just something that our generation got taught, and then you'll believe it, and you'll be like, yeah, that's just, it is what it is.
And what the sentence should be is, running without the correct footwear or without warming up or without enough rest can destroy your knees. Not running destroys your knees.
Yeah, so this is what I mean. But this is the thing, like, things get twisted, don't they?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That is like an outlandish claim, and that's something that sticks. So
yeah,
it's like Chinese whispers. It will get passed on, and things will come out of it, and like obviously the actual,
and then you end up putting onion in your hair,
and then you end up putting onions in your hair.
And here we are.
I don't do that anymore, okay? I've got extensions.
It stinks in this room, I've just got to let you know.
No, I don't do that. I only ever did that because Google told, I was desperate for long hair. Google told me that I could have long hair by putting onion juice in my hair. So I did it, didn't work, did it? So I've got extensions now.
No, it was a long time
story
ago.
short.
You're saying I've got extensions now like it was 2 weeks ago.
It was about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Can we just
We'll give that to her. We'll give that
so
to
it was
her.
a turmeric face mask.
The yellow face. And another myth we're all listing them off today, aren't we? But the stretching one, which I thought was really interesting.
This is something that I didn't even know of. And I'm literally a PT, so that's crazy.
Yeah, mad. So you might have heard of the term about, make sure you're doing your dynamic stretches before a workout and then your static stretches after a workout.
Yeah, and I feel like that is general. Like, I hope most of our followers know that because we drill it into their ears every single month.
And that's so true. Like, we will always stand by that statement. And that's because you need to make sure you're warming up before. So you need to get the blood flowing around your muscles. But actually doing static stretching before a workout is actually bad for you. So, or at least will stunt your progress and will stunt your productivity in that session, which is mad because I knew it was good to do your static stretching after. And static stretching is like still. So if you're holding a stretch for like longer than 60
and
seconds.
And staying in the same place as that stretch.
Yeah. And then I was reading that apparently if you hold a stretch for more than 90 seconds, then that actually temporarily diminishes the muscle. So the productivity of that muscle is going to be really low because I guess it's because it's being stretched out so much that's
maybe
where
maybe it's like it's not being warmed up.
Yeah.
It's not being warmed. It's
like
not being given the chance to warm up. So you're going straight into something which you shouldn't do anyway. You shouldn't straight away go into a session without warming up, especially in the cold.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst thing you can do for your body before going for it.
Yeah. So if you do that and you're holding your stretches before you work out, then you're not going to be productive, and actually you're probably more at risk of injury because your muscle isn't going to be ready. Your muscle's not going to be at the right whatever the muscle.
I've not heard that. So I've not heard that like going around anywhere.
But it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will just say stretch before you work out.
And it's just chill.
And then what you're going to do, stand there and hold your leg up.
It's not necessarily a myth, but like it is. I don't think enough information's around.
It's a type of stretching.
Yeah.
So it's like stretch before you work out, but let's do moving stretches. So start off going into like, I don't know, a hamstring curl into a squat or something like that, so that it doesn't have to be fast. It needs to be something that your body can get into slowly, but you need to slowly start warming your muscles up, getting the blood flowing around your muscles, not staying completely still. Which the importance of that, I don't think has ever been highlighted to me before.
No, I agree. And that's not necessarily a myth, but it's misinformation at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's more of an exaggeration of something. Like, I knew dynamic stretches before, static after, but I didn't realise it was bad to do static
it's
before.
good to know these things. It really is. Like, I like understanding why you do some certain things because it makes sense, you know. Like I like when I was like getting into the gym, I'd just do things without really knowing why I was doing it, and then obviously later on down the line, I looked into it and did like research and stuff, and it makes so much more sense. And it's nice to know, like it you know, when you do a certain movement and you know exactly what you're supposed to be training, you're training with an intention.
Yeah.
And it's just, you feel
it. Yeah, it's like doing a glute exercise, like an RDL, and you do the exercise.
You know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, and you feel it in your glute. You know you're squeezing it. It's like, okay, I'm satisfied.
And it's the cues that you've got them rehearsed in your head. Whereas like when we first started going to the gym, it would just be like headless chickens. Yeah, grabbing as much weight as we can and just going like...
Just going for it. Honestly, some of the videos of us when we first started was...
I remember that. Do you remember that one? We were at like quite a small commercial gym, and they only had those like pre-made barbells. There was not a lot of equipment at all.
Yeah.
And there was no hold, there was no nothing, but you've got to be there to learn.
The overextension on our reps, we were like coming... Yeah. Our hips were flying up to the ceiling,
absolutely flying. I don't know how I still have a back.
No.
But you have to be there. You have to be there at some point in your fitness journey.
Yeah.
You really do.
I feel like a big myth that this is like the main thing that I wanted to mention as well was about the bulky thing.
This put me off. Put me off weight training.
Yeah.
When I first started. So this is probably the biggest fitness myth, right?
For me, I think so. I hear it the most.
Yeah, if you train, you're like, women will end up bulky, and that's the biggest load of crap.
Yeah.
I have ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have ever heard.
And don't get me wrong, if you want to be ripped and you want to absolutely like get shredded and build your muscles, you can do that, but it takes so much time and effort. And
do you know how much effort these people are putting in? Yeah. It's like hours and hours and hours, and it's not just training, it's the whole nutrition side of things, and obviously some people will be injecting as well. Yeah. So that's something that you can't like shy away from. Like, these people are putting so much effort into looking bulky because they want to look bulky.
Yeah.
But if you're not training to look bulky, you will not end up bulky.
Yeah, and so many of our clients will come to us and say like, oh yeah, I'm happy to start weight training, but will this mean that I end up looking bulky? And I think we're the big, like, we've been training in the gym with weights for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm like...
There's nothing there, mate.
And you can literally pull up. You can do multiple pull-ups.
This is what I mean.
And this is what you got to show.
Sometimes I would love to train and go bulky, but that's just not the case.
No, it's so much harder than you think. It's so much harder.
Obviously, the style of training you do, like, if you are really, really going for your 1 rep maxes and like really pushing for a lot of weight, then you are gonna head like you're gonna put muscle on. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna be bulky. And obviously a lot of it looks to diet as well, so obviously you will bulk up in terms of like put on a bit more weight and fat if you're eating more fat. That just is how it is. But if you're training to put muscle on and you're eating protein and you're eating quite a clean diet, you won't get fat.
No, unless you're in a calorie surplus, which we mentioned about, was it last episode or the episode before?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're training in a calorie surplus, then you're gonna put on weight.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that by eating like lean foods and not loads of processed foods, which is gonna be good for you, then you're less likely to put on fat.
Yeah.
But that can happen. But if you're eating like the same amount and then starting training, or even eating less, then there's no way, like in science, that you can put yourself in a calorie deficit and then all of a sudden become Popeye.
And even like, don't let it put you off training to build muscle either, because you're still gonna look like a woman. You're still gonna look like a woman, and you're not gonna put like, obviously it's natural to fluctuate in body weight, but you're not gonna come through that door and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't like saying the second word.
Yeah. I know.
You're not going to come through the door and look like a huge Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, you're not going to look like that. No,
you're just not. And yeah, I think just embrace who you are as well, because I think it's absolutely beautiful as well when women have a little bit of muscle on them. So
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I feel like
worried about that.
Yeah, and like, you've got to do what you've got to do. Like, you've got to do what you enjoy. So if you want to like lift weight, lift the weight. Just lift the weight and don't care what it makes you look like.
No, but it's not going to automatically. You're not going to walk out that door and not be able to fit your shoulders through the door. You're just not. I'm sorry.
As much as that
sometimes I wish.
Yeah, sometimes I wish. But that is so true. Yeah. And also, we don't have the same amount of muscles that... We don't have the same amount of hormones as we don't have the same amount of hormones as men do. Yeah. So men will find lifting weight a little bit easier and putting on muscle a little bit easier, whereas women it's a hard slog. So but that's that's just why
the fact.
Yeah, that's just the facts.
That's just the fact. And that's why your boyfriend could go to the gym and do exactly the same routine and you're not going to come out looking the same. Just in the same way that we'll go to the gym and do the same routine and we'll still look different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just have to kind of work with your body, go through it.
But you will not look bulky.
No, don't worry about that. If you want to train for that, then that's different. But if you're not going into the gym for that reason, you're not going to. If
you're not intentionally training to look wham, you're not going to look wham.
100% wham.
There is another myth out there that I got a lot of controversy on TikTok for, and that is shocking your muscles. And the way that people think that you should shock your muscles is to change your routine every now and then. When I say now and then, probably every 2-3 weeks, just so you're shocking your muscles. Whereas actually the truth behind that is it's probably worse to do that than stick to the way you should be shocking your muscles should be with progressive overload, and that's increasing the weight or increasing the frequency of how many times you work out a week or increasing the sets and reps, rather than shocking your muscles by changing an exercise.
Yeah, and the thing with progressive overload is as well that ultimately it works off the back of consistency and you only change one thing at a time. So if you're saying, okay, I want to incorporate progressive overload, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to do a completely different routine every single day and I'm going to do a different one the week after, and then I'm going to make sure I'm doing 12 reps that day, and then I'm going to make sure I'm doing 20 reps the other day, and then I'm going to do this weight, and it's all over the place, then you're never going to be able to incorporate progressive overload because there's no consistency. So
your muscles won't know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So shocking your muscles in that sense and kind of making them confused, and it's like a concept that I've heard of, make sure your body doesn't know what's coming next, because if you can come around the corner and trick your body into thinking that oh my gosh, we did hip thrust yesterday,
don't let your body know your next move.
Yeah, literally. Don't let your body know your next move. That is the concept of it.
Actually, let your body know the next move.
Yeah, let your body know the next move, but slowly push it harder.
Yeah.
And if you're doing for example, let's say a 4-week training program, you're only going to be able to incorporate progressive overload into... We're really struggling with that word today, aren't we? Progressive overload into that training program if most elements are the same, and then you've got one thing at a time that you're changing. So weight's an obvious one. So say you're doing you're trying to grow your glutes and you're doing the same plan for 4 weeks, but then every week you're slightly increasing the weight that you're loading.
That's how you're going to progress.
Everything else stays the same, and then it's overwhelming if you do too much. If you were to increase the weight and increase the reps and decrease the rest time and all of a sudden train 5 days a week when you're only doing 2 or 3 before.
You'll fatigue too quickly.
Yeah, there's no way that's gonna your muscles will be shocked.
Yeah, that's
you're gonna be too sore. You're not gonna be recovered.
You're gonna be overwhelmed. Your muscles are gonna be overwhelmed. That's the thing. I think you need to be consistent enough to be able to then progressive overload, because otherwise, if you're changing things out all the time, you're not gonna give your body chance of progressive overload, and that's the most important thing with progress.
Yeah, so
it's in the name.
Yeah, so if you hear people say things about shocking their muscles, it could be that they mean actually incorporate progressive overload and add the next thing, don't just constantly stay at the same weight, don't constantly stay at exactly the same... My tummy. It's my tummy. That is so annoying.
No, you did so well. We can cut it.
We can cut it. Don't constantly say at the same things that you're doing all the time. You do need to shock in that sense, because you need to make sure that, okay, I'm going to add a couple of kg on.
You can't stay at the same weight expecting to grow.
Yeah, but don't do it as if you're okay, next move, karate, like, what can I do next? That's just not
lat
gonna
pull
do.
down, okay, hip thrust, okay,
All in the same
bridge.
day. I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna do a marathon. Like, you can't do that all at once, can you? It just doesn't work like that.
It will actually like reverse what you're actually trying to do.
Yeah,
I think.
you just can't
do more harm than good, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to read that wrong. Like, maybe because I think on yours, when you did it on TikTok, like, part of it was a bit of a like hook, and part of it was a misreading. So like, people look at it and instantly are like, well, some people will look at it and think, okay, great. Some people look at it and think, oh my gosh, I need to show my muscles every day. I need to do a different plan every single day.
Yeah, I'm never going to use that phrase again.
No, because it's tricky.
It can be... That's the thing with things like this as well. Like, maybe people aren't actually intentionally spreading misinformation, but like certain phrases will get confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, like, if you are trying to shock your muscles, make sure you're doing that with progressive overload and not changing out your plan every single week.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we can't do this episode without talking about butt injections.
And Olivia Atwood.
This shocks me, right? I've not done like research on this because I know it can't be good for you. There's no way injecting what's meant for your, what is even meant for your lips.
Like,
I mean, it's a foreign
your body.
It's a foreign body anyway. Yeah. So like that's why your lips dissolve, because like, and it's nothing against lip filler.
No, if that's what you want to do.
20 injections into your bum
can't be good for you.
What?
No.
Like that?
I don't think I watched this episode.
No, it's on. So if anyone wants to watch it, it's called. I'm plugging Olivia Atwood here. It's called The Price of Perfection. That show is crazy.
I've watched like an episode. I think I've not really been. I need to catch up. But
it gradually makes it worse. So first it starts on face, and then it goes to, I think, like, and it's like you actually see a facelift.
Oh, like a video of what they do.
You've seen that? It's like someone stuffing a ham sandwich. It's crazy. You see that, and then you do boobs, which is like common, isn't it? So like we've all seen like boob jobs before and afters and stuff. Then it goes on to vaginas, then it goes on to willies, and then it goes on to butt's actually third, so it's not that bad. Butt's third.
She knows the order.
Then it's vaginas, then it's penis, and then the last episode is a man getting an injection of hyaluronic acid. So like what is for lip,
in your lip,
yeah, is what what is like used for lip fillers into his.
Oh my!
I can't even say into his peen.
And I'm not going to use that as an example, but in general, like plastic surgery and all the stuff that you can get so accessible these days, I think that's a big misinformation thing, because in the gym world, like loads, and again, no shade, like if people want to do that, that's absolutely fine. But you see people on Instagram all the time and they're training in the gym, but you don't know what they've had done.
Yeah.
So you're looking at it and you're thinking like, oh, I wish I looked like that.
Yeah.
But you're comparing yourself to something that isn't even real, which is crazy.
It's like the BBL though, isn't it? Like that's one of the most dangerous surgeries you can have.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But people won't really look into the side effects of it.
And so many people do it.
Yeah, this is what I mean. And it's just like, at least look into it a little bit more from the side effects, because nothing is worth the risk of you dying.
Your life.
Yeah, nothing's worth that. Nothing is worth that.
No.
And just like, you can change your body in the gym. It takes a lot longer, but it's quite...
It's the consistency
fun. I
thing.
like it.
Yeah, and it's reward. It's more rewarding,
It's more rewarding, and although you have to, like, it's a lifestyle, you've got to keep it up, I get that. But it's much better to do that than risk your life. Like, nothing, like, physically... Is it physically?
Yeah,
nothing physically is worth your life.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with, like, all of these things, all of the myths that we've seen, that we've spoken about and seen, that we've seen or spoken about, you have to like your body enough first to be able to be happy with anything that you do. And I think no matter what the thing is that you're following on Instagram, it's not going to actually change the perspective of yourself unless you're happy with yourself.
It's like when people get fillers and stuff in their face and
then you get more
surgery, and they get more, and then they get more because they're never going to be happy with where they first started off.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the gym. There's another reason why I'd always advocate for the gym, because although it's longer and although it is actually effort, one, it's good for you mentally and physically,